pass that out because these won't wait. So you'll just come up and you'll speak. My name is Michael Gett. I wasn't a friend of Andy's or anything like that.
What are you doing here?
Well, I heard there's going to be food. In fact, they have better food here than at the Shiva. It's true. And before we start, I'm going to call up my friend Lloyd. Lloyd, come on up. Lloyd's going to come up and do something. What are you going to do? You're going to sing for us.
I don't know. Debbie asked if I do a song.
Right, so
remember, this is a cappella, so I don't know.
and then we'll all sing in.
Right?
Yeah. Afterwards, go ahead, start off the song. This is Lloyd. Lloyd's going to start off the song.
Huh?
Go ahead, good. Ready?
Amazing grace, how sweet
the sound. That's Spirit of Life. Spirit of life, like me. I once was blind, but now I'm found. Come on. I once was blind, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. See, if Andy was here, would he appreciate that?
Yeah, and Andy would have done this. Wait, Mike.
I don't think.
Wait. Kitty's in charge of Dickie.
All right, this thing.
That was it.
Can you do the cha-cha?
Okay, turn it up. Thank you. Before we start calling people up, I just wanted to talk to Lloyd a second. What do you remember about Andy? Huh?
Andy was a mensch.
He was a mensch, huh? That's what you
Okay.
remember.
That's how I classify Andy. He was a fun-loving guy. He loved his dogs, as everybody knows, and he was just
Face the camera. Stand on
Face the camera.
Yeah, go ahead.
and he just enjoyed life, as we hope we all do.
That's very good. You see? So this is the type of atmosphere that we would like today. You could say anything sad about him, anything happy about him. Who cares? You know, we're just here to have a good time. You know what I remember about Andy?
What do you remember, Michael?
When we used to go out, he would
Yeah.
always cancel. He would
Oh.
always cancel. We're going out with him Saturday. I gotta go. Whoa, no, the dog is sick.
Wait a
He
second.
would always cancel.
Hold it. That still goes on. That carried on. I don't think it was Andy. I think it was Debbie.
It was Debbie.
Michael, say it again.
You missed it, right? But it was always it. They were always canceling.
Cancel.
Right? You know, right? You know. Everyone's shaking their head, you know. Okay. So we're going to have a candle lighting ceremony without the candles. Where are you? You're going to sing a song. Come here. Ready? So the first people up that we're going to call up to say something is Gail and Eddie Summer and Summer and who else? And Andrea? Oh, that's no, that's not good. Gail and Eddie Summer. Go ahead, sing some. Go ahead. Come on up. Come on. Don't let him get anywhere near Is this the little boy at play? Where's Eddie? Where's Eddie?
Just ignore him.
So let me guess, your name is Gail.
And this is Eddie.
When I was a little girl, my name was Gail.
Gail.
Okay, go ahead. I said that before. Go ahead, look into the camera.
Funny.
Go ahead.
All right.
Tell us about
Andy was our protector. So we all went to Washington, D.C. one year with all our kids, and we had to walk through this really bad neighborhood to get to Children's Museum. Okay, so Debbie was telling everybody, because, you know, never bothers her being in a bad neighborhood. Marty, no problem. And then you got Andy, who finds this giant stick on the floor. And Andy picks up his stick and he says he's going to protect all of us. And that's what Andy always did for everybody. Andy protected us, he loved us, and he's still with us.
That's right.
Okay.
Eddie, you gotta say, you have funny. Eddie, you
that
could think of
Bill,
eating with the nuts. Well, we had nuts for
Stand
dinner.
up here,
Come on,
Eddie.
Eddie.
Come on,
We
stand
had
up.
nuts.
Oh,
We're allowed to-
Stand up over
We
Where
don't
was
allowed
that?
to eat.
Where was that? Where we
Well, we
had
could have
nuts
nuts,
for
we're
dinner.
allowed
Can you
dinner.
aim it down?
Which
The
one?
whole trip to Tennessee you weren't
No,
allowed to
but
have
what
dinner.
city was it in?
Was it Chattanooga?
Yeah.
Chattanooga.
He's like, let her say
let her
it.
tell the
She says it better anyway.
But we were.
Maybe we.
Wait, pass him up. Go. He
And
has a
the
thing. He's old.
and the cookies and the
We were
nuts.
driving all day long,
Right,
and we
and the
were starving, and when we were talking to Debbie and Gail, we have to stop, we gotta eat someplace, we're starving. And we went to this place, and all they had was nuts. It wasn't a real restaurant, and we were so mad at them, and we just had nuts. Not having any food for the
And
whole day.
drive for 15 hours. And then we went to the hotel, they had cookies. So you're allowed to
That's right. We
cook.
say, look, you can have cookies.
Yeah, because we got what is it? I got my almonds, Gail's got her apples. What do you got?
Right, and Andy and I just had nuts and a couple of
Because
cookies
you always
for
listen.
dinner.
Debbie, you should come
This
up.
part is getting edited out. Edit this part out.
Come on up, stand with us.
Well, I have a poem.
Okay, you got it, well, we'll get to you.
Okay.
Maybe,
I'm just like him now.
but in the meantime, stand
Oh,
over
okay.
here, because the other people are gonna be coming up.
Okay. Right. And
And
I'm
you
like,
can-
I'm
Right, yes,
girl.
yes, okay. All right, next person that we're gonna call up is Andrea.
Who came?
Isn't Andrea in the house?
Andrea and Bruce.
Yes, you!
No, I'm Andy. And Andrea and
So why don't you tell us who Andrea is? Is it
Andrea came all the way
Face-
from
yeah.
Warwick.
over
Her
here?
husband Bruce couldn't come. I know Andrea since I was 17 in high school. And then we bonded so well as couple friends. And she's unbelievable. I like my sister. And she loved Andy, so she has a lot to tell. But funny.
Funny.
Okay.
Okay.
Funny. Okay, how can it not be funny? So Debbie and I reunite, thankfully, we reunite a bunch of years ago. And I never met Andy. And I'm saying to myself, we want to double date, we all remember what double dates. I wanted to meet this guy, I want to meet this guy who's married to Debbie. I heard about the girls, I gotta meet this guy. So we went out to dinner and
Wait, he didn't cancel?
Oh! Every time. Thank you very much.
Go ahead.
And when we were getting to the third time, we were already at the restaurant. We should have known better. And then she calls and I'm saying, oh God, it can't happen again. And it was, unfortunately, it was a car accident. And everybody was okay.
And I said, but we have to get there. We're really close. And Andy's going, well, we got no tires.
And we did. But then we finally got together and we had them pick the restaurant. We're meeting in the city, we had them pick the restaurant. And I'm saying, and they're picking this restaurant and keep telling us that they got really good drinks, And I'm saying to myself, I know Debbie doesn't drink. I know Andy doesn't drink. So we met them at the restaurant and we said, most of this is, drinking. Bruce is gonna drink,
Yeah.
I'm gonna drink. And they said, we're just gonna watch.
Because we did, because we knew you liked the restaurant. That's what, because we had to think about other people.
On another note, that's kind of what I can come up with humorous, but I didn't know, I wasn't lucky enough to know Andy as long as most of you in this room. But when I met him, I had the warmest feeling, just the warmest feeling.
He didn't pee on you or anything like that?
Not that kind
All
of.
right, go ahead.
I had the warmest feeling.
Control yourself.
And he made me feel, and my husband as well, that we had known him forever. And we miss him.
Okay. Thank you, Andrea. And next person up is, what's that name there? Sue.
Sonny.
What, Sonny?
Sonny.
Sonny and Joe Simon.
Come on, you
I'll do
Sonny,
it.
come on. Well, you should stand next to him.
And don't interrupt me.
Okay.
All right. First of all, he never canceled on us.
Come on in over here.
I don't think he ever canceled on us. Right? No. He canceled on us?
Sonny, did we cancel us?
I don't think so.
Because I'm afraid of stuff.
All right. Sonny and Debbie would be up in the kitchen bullshitting, whatever they do. Andy sits there. That's his favorite spot with the dogs. And
Right.
I'm sitting here, we're watching TV,
Right, yeah.
and we're talking. Okay? And we're having a good conversation. And I'm talking and talking. I talk a lot. I'm talking, and then all of a sudden, he's sleeping. The favorite dog. What was that? Lulu. Okay. So he's snoring with Lulu on his neck. Okay. And I'm looking at that. I'm talking to him. He's sleeping with Lulu, his favorite dog. I think he had sex with Lulu. He loved his dog.
He wanted to die with his dog.
And he wanted it right. So, you know, I can go on and on and on. I'm sure there are a lot of people who have a lot of things to say. But that was special. Sitting with him there, I would sit there, and he would sit there with all the dogs, watch television, and he'd sleep. No, he fell asleep eventually. But we had some interesting conversations. Some of them I can't tell you about, but they were good. And then that's about it. You know, we miss him. I don't think he's gone for some
No,
reason.
he's not in my pony says he's not.
He's not.
And my pony's the one who says
It's hard to believe, but you know, it is what it is.
that's why we
And-
want to
and we
celebrate
love
the
him,
fun,
and-
yeah.
And he will be missed.
And we love
We
you.
love him. He is
Okay.
missed.
That's it.
Okay, and next.
That was fun.
Next up is Marsha and Jeff. Come on, let's go, let's go. Come on. Well, let's Jeff. Come on, Marsha. Otherwise, you're gonna regret it. You're gonna regret it later. Otherwise, you would have said, "I should have gotten up, but I didn't get up. I just wanted to sit."
Jeff barking?
Come on, sit over here. Say hello. Say hello to
He
Debbie.
couldn't get in more trouble than he is now.
Turn around, face. You gotta face the camera over here. Okay, good, there you go. Tell us
You
a
knew her
story.
before I knew anything.
All right, now look at the camera, project. No, he's saying it doesn't matter, anything you want.
Funny.
Don't make me sick.
Go ahead.
My memory of Andy's when I was doing my daughter's bat mitzvah, when I was going to bring the T-shirt, he helped me design it because he was so talented. And that's what I remember about him.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna get him into trouble. We went to eat one
Remember, kids get
time.
revenge, so be
I know,
careful.
at Buckley's.
Oh yeah.
You remember this? We went to eat at Buckley's, and Andy came and you didn't. You canceled, but he didn't.
Harold's.
Was it Harold?
Yes, it's
And he was
Harold.
sitting and talking to one of our friends, Donna. And at the end of the meal, like an hour and a half later, we're walking out. She goes, "Who was that?" I go, "That's Andy." She goes, "Andy, Debbie's husband." She goes, "He's such a nice guy." I go, "It's not with Debbie.
I never liked that Donna.
She's a Met fan, so what does she know? And then I remember one time we went to a wedding or bar mitzvah and they gave us cigars. And he wanted to smoke his cigar at the table. And you said, "What if the other people don't like that you're smoking a cigar?" He looks at me, I go, instead of arguing, like, you know, "Oh, Debbie." I took.
Always worry about the other, never about me.
Yes. So we went outside in the rain or whatever, and he smoked his cigar right on the steps of that. But that's the things I remember about him. Besides him, we met each other when you first started.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, also,
1981.
and we hit it right away.
Yeah, we hit it off right away, and we didn't even know we were
No.
veterans for how many years?
Right.
It never came up.
Right.
It never ever came. And then all of a sudden he told me.
We went out to eat for our birthdays because Andy's February 16th, our friend Ann is February 17th, I'm February 19th, April's February 10th, so we went out to eat in Buckley's.
There's Buckley.
And Andy had to go to use the facilities, and he walks back into the room where we're sitting, and not even a second after he passes the threshold, the vent fell down
Oh,
and missed him like that.
What are you allowed? Because I made it through Vietnam, but I won't make it through Buckley's restaurant. Yeah, I remember that. She's screaming, "Where's the owner?" Right?
Yeah, where's the owner? Why isn't he apologizing?
One last thing I just want to say. You people don't really know my dad. You never did. He wasn't easy to get along with, and he didn't make friends easily. But he used to go to the Veterans Hospital with Andy. And they used to sit together, have pizza together, and he came back and he told me, he goes, "Your friend Andy's really a great guy." I go, "Andy Raskin?" "Yeah, he's really great. He's married to your wife's friend." I go, "Yeah." He goes, "Yeah." And then Andy told me, he says, "Oh, I was with your dad. What a great guy he is." And I'm going, "Oh my God." If you knew them, you know. Ask Ricky. That's about it that we can say.
Thank
Hey, aren't you glad you got up now?
Jeff Larkin, right? Yes.
Good,
You don't want to be
okay.
known as Jeff.
The next person I'm gonna bring up, Brenda and Candy.
Where's
Brenda and Candy, come on up.
Do it here, we have to get up.
Sounds like a
Now,
Billy
right
Joel
now, let's
song.
go, Brenda and Candy.
We're a couple, Brenda and Keith.
While they're coming up, I want you to know this is gonna be on cable
Well, Brenda, you
television.
really had to start by
If you live in
yourself with your
Staten
mic.
Island, if you have Spectrum, channel
But you had to spot by
35, if you have Vios, channel
Spot by yourself.
79, so look for it. If you wanna see what it is called, I'll give Debbie the information. I happen to be a producer at community television, and this is what I do. Okay, okay, right over here, let me get out of the way, let me move over.
I don't know funny, but what I remember about Andy was me and Debbie used to go into Manhattan all the time. We used to park my car near the 17 bus. We used to go into the city, but when it was time to go back, the 17 bus never came. It was never there. We waited with the cold and the heat, and an odd bus would come, like 23 would come, and Debbie would say, "Let's get on it." I said, "But where's it going to drive?" You'll pick us up. We will call Andy no matter where.
No matter where
I
we were.
said, yeah.
And
I
take you
said,
no matter where.
he
No matter
said,
where we
it
were.
just has to be on Staten Island.
Yeah.
He will find us. I said, and then what about my car? That's all the way
He'll
out.
drive us to the car.
He'll drive us to the car.
He'll
Don't
do
worry
anything
about
he
it. Whatever you want, he will do. And you know what? He did. We used to go on these strange buses. She would call him, and there he was waiting on the other side of Staten Island, and he would drive me pleasant, telling me stories, laughing, and then you would always go to exercise, which you don't do anymore.
Right, yeah.
And they both would go to the JCC and exercise, and I always remember that.
Yeah.
He always would have played, some husbands, not to say who, would be upset if you called him, pick me up, and he was always there for us. He was
And
always
then he
there.
would
I
take
loved
us to
him.
the,
He was
to
wonderful.
get the bus, and then we'd find her, and
then
now no one can replace him, right?
And now that
And he has a job like
we
that.
have to take care of ourselves now.
Yeah,
And
no one's
now-
able to do the job. I know, Mike
Brenda.
couldn't do it. He said, Mike said, I wanted to.
Brenda.
He didn't even know how to
Call
do it.
Michael.
The nerve.
Michael.
You're all right.
Oh, Michael will
Yeah,
pick us
Michael.
up.
Oh, yeah, right.
Michael would pick you up with your mother and take Andy, whatever.
And now that we saw the good Andy, which he is, he was as good as
He was
gold.
the best.
I have to tell you my experiences with Andy. Because Debbie and Andy were kind enough to invite us. They were going to go ballroom dancing. Jonah and Michael, and even Alan and Susan, we all went ballroom dancing. I had never danced. My husband always wanted to dance, so I said, okay, I'm going to do it. Figuring he'd go once, my husband, and he'd say, I had enough of this. I fell in love with it, so we keep doing it. But Debbie
And Andy.
and Andy, they gave ballroom dancing a new name. It's supposed to be romantic. It's supposed to be you hold your wife. You're supposed to be graceful. The screaming that went on. You couldn't even hear the caller because he was cooling.
And he got angry too.
He was angry too. When Andy and Debbie finally decided they weren't coming anymore, the caller was so happy. The fighting, the screaming, you moron, you idiot.
I didn't want this. You told me to come.
But we had a great time, and you know what? I have to say now that we're all together, because nobody said it before, but I have to say, Debbie, we are so, everyone here, so proud of you.
Thank you.
Because she has
had a year and carried on and did what she had to do.
Oh, yeah.
No, you do, and you're a survivor, and we're all very proud of you.
And I have to thank everyone here for helping me because I'm really blessed to have friends that really,
Well, it takes,
really
what does it take, a
care.
neighbor to raise a Debbie?
It takes-
Oh yeah, I told him on Saturday on all these stores. I said, look, my husband died. It takes a neighbor, it takes a community.
It takes a village,
Yeah, to raise him.
Excuse me,
It takes a good friend to have a good friend.
It takes a village.
Thank you.
Thank you! And next on the list is Gail H.
Come on,
That's what it
now
says,
you
H.
really were there for Andy. You know the situation.
Okay, I didn't know Andy for a
Turn
long
around,
time.
face the camera.
I didn't know Andy for a long time, but every time I saw Andy, his eyes were bloodshot, and I said, "Is he drunk?" So finally, we were in your house one time, and I said, "Andy, I have to ask you, why
She's
are
a
your
nurse.
eyes always red?" He said, "I never take out my contact lenses." And I said, "You're kidding me? No, never took them out." So that was my only story with Andy.
And
but
gallbladder came with us to the doctor.
Came, yeah,
And
he
then
had
the
a-
pressure machine wasn't working.
he had gallbladder. I took him to my surgeon, a guy I knew.
And then she's in there and she's telling me the pressure's not working, the pressure machine's not working.
Yeah, the
And
nurse-
you took over with the
It
pressure.
wasn't a nurse,
And then he
it was
goes,
an
I don't,
assistant. She didn't know what she was doing.
I have 2 people now. I don't have a doctor.
He was a great guy, and he is missed. Great guy.
Very nice. Next people up are Marissa and Barry.
And Larry came. Or where's Larry?
Marissa and Barry, it says.
Where's Marissa?
Marissa, she went home.
Larry just came. You want to go after?
Yeah, can somebody else?
All right, go after.
Okay, next on the list is Teddy and Stewie.
Yeah. Teddy and
Teddy and Stewie, come on up.
These are,
Step right
should I
up.
introduce who they are?
Yes, a little closer to the floor.
These people, we know them since we're 19.
Step right over here, move over.
We were all couple friends, married friends, and stayed together since 19. So they have good stories about Andy.
I remember the first time I met Andy must have been about, I guess, more than 50 years ago. There was a party in RB's house, and everyone's saying, Debbie's coming with a new boyfriend. I go, who's this guy? They said, I don't even know his name, but he's some kind of a hippie artist. I understand. So Andy comes in, big smile with the hair. He had the long hair. He had this suede jacket with the fringes. And yeah, he always had his pouch, and that was it. And we became real good friends. As a matter of fact, Debbie and Andy got married the weekend before Donna and I did.
And then the honeymoon.
And they went to Paradise Island on their honeymoon. And when they were checking out, we were checking in to the Paradise Island Hotel.
That's where you went.
Yeah.
You went to Parasite.
Do you remember Napoleon then?
Yeah.
And Stewie, we know also the same, with the same group, so we want to tell funny
It's just like, Teddy describes what the Andy looked like, and I was just looking at that picture over there,
Yeah.
and that's the Andy, and we never got
Oh,
to
yeah,
know
'cause
the
there's one picture there
the
with
clean
no
shaven
shirt.
Andy,
Yeah,
with
right.
no wild hair, no beard or anything like that, but the Andy we knew was the best.
Yeah, I always remember Andy,
Right.
but he had the little Triumph, the
Right, he had the
TR4,
Triumph,
and I
yeah.
had the Carmen Gia,
Yeah.
and we'd go on trips, and we'd each be in our own cars. Me and
Right.
Donna, you and Andy, we went to Virginia, we went a lot of different
Oh,
places.
yeah, we went all these trips. We had a lot of fun, like the cabin with the bear.
Oh yeah, that was Brooklyn Day weekend.
We went to
I
Luray
remember.
Caverns, and there was a bear that came on the terrace, and everyone was running and taking pictures of the bear looking in, and that was, like, of course, the highlight of the trip.
And we left meat out from the next
Yeah,
night,
that's
he
right,
didn't
yeah.
come
Even
back.
though you weren't supposed to,
That's gone.
yeah.
All right, thanks.
She's looking at the list.
Sarah, come on, Sarah.
While she's looking at the list, I'd like to...
Oh, it's just for the bathroom. Larry's coming back.
I got,
Okay,
we'll
Larry.
take a break.
Wanna take a break?
Well, this may be the good time for you to sing your poem, to read your
Oh,
poem.
okay, okay.
Well, I gotta improvise. Well, I want you to know, in addition, I also do funerals. So if anyone is interested, give me a call. Okay. Okay. All right, so at this time, we're gonna call up Marissa and Barry and Larry. There's like the three stooges. Larry, okay, come on, Larry. Right over here. Come on, good. Come on up. Introduce them. Next to us, up front. There you go. Get in front. There we go. Good shot. Tell them who they are. They know who they are.
This is Marissa, my daughter. This is Barry, her soon-to-be, my soon-to-be son-in-law. And this is Lara, your daughter.
Yeah, eventually, if all
One
goes
day.
well, one day.
He's still around after this. From you, not from me.
Okay.
Is it really
From you,
Yes.
driving.
Yes.
Want to talk some funny or whatever you want to talk? So.
Well, considering I didn't know this was actually happening.
No one did. That's what's so funny.
Oh, okay.
I decided this morning to do it.
Thank you. No, this is great. This is great. Well, thank you all for coming. I know how amazing this is. I mean, like, all these people here to pay tribute to my father. I mean, he touched so many lives. Even at his funeral and the couple days after, people were just coming out of the woodwork. Neighbors across the street who we didn't even talk to for just stupid reasons were like, oh my God, whatever you need. I mean, it was just like, it was more touching to know even strangers and the people that we all know love him coming up to us and just being like, oh my God, oh my God. We love Andy. So, I mean, it's just, for me, this is a great memorial, but the fact that I know how much people loved him, even though he kind of kept to himself and didn't always seem like the life of the party, he really was. Like, he would take the shirt off his back to anyone needing it. And, you know, I still can't believe that he's even, like, I still forget that we're here because my dad's no longer here. Like, I still expect him when I walk in the door to be down here, like, taking a nap, listening to his music, and still wearing his clothes from the night before, and like my mom saying, Andy, you have to go to the store and get something. Oh my God, okay. And then of course he went. And then 10 minutes later, everyone was upstairs on the bed watching TV together. So I mean, it was like crazy, you know, we would fight and yell, but the love that we had as a family will always be there. And like I said, like I don't feel like he's here forever. And you know, since we don't have an actual burial, like I guess this is also like the unveil type situation, like the year after. So it's just great seeing everyone, and I'm glad that when someone told my mom about this idea that she actually went through with it.
I said, and I did, and went through it. Was
yeah, because
I have to second guess. So I mean,
well, she, you know, little Debbie can get overwhelmed, and it's a lot for her. I cancel. She doesn't mean it when she cancels. She does it to me too. Are you mad? I'm so sorry. I'm just not having a really good day, and all. So, and I kind of do it too. But she loves everyone. My dad loves everyone. Loved everyone. Does love everyone. My sister too. And we're just so grateful. I'm so happy I was able to come. Sorry I'm late. My dog is really hurt, and took an Uber here, which was actually pretty good. No traffic. And
That's like that sounds like an Andy excuse.
thank you. Love you all.
like what's Barry gonna say? You never met him, but you can figure out what kind of person he is.
My name is Barry. I'm Marissa's boyfriend, soon to be husband, whatever that was. I don't know. I didn't know Andy. I never had the pleasure of meeting him, but I kind of feel to like a degree that I did meet him just from the stories that Marissa tells me and a lot of the things that she's told me from myself being a father are things that I could see myself doing, and I do, to protect my daughter. So I feel like I already kind of related to Andy on a lot of different levels. But just everywhere we've gone, whether it's meeting random people in the supermarket or out on the street or walking the dog or a neighbor, I have yet to hear anything but just positive and lovely things about him. And it leads me to believe that this is the kind of man that he obviously had to have been, because 5 million people can't be wrong. So, unfortunately I didn't get to meet him, but I only wish that I did. I think that we would have had a very good relationship with one another. I think he would have been, a wonderful grandfather. Just if you look around and see all the cool toys that were around. That would have been great. But I think this is a very special way to pay a tribute to him and the wonderful husband and father and friend to everyone that he was. And I'm honored to be a part of it. So thank you.
She doesn't want to say anything?
No.
Okay. Nothing at all, huh? Here everyone is saying such nice things.
Now,
Okay. Yes?
Shower
yes.
and Jen.
Okay. You know, I'm surprised no one said anything about Lego, right?
Right. Jeremy, tell the story about the lady when I always went swimming with you at the time.
Well, you'd have to come on up. Okay.
Come on, Shara.
Is that who we're calling up right now? Shara and Jeremy.
I'm up.
Did I call them?
Shara and Jeremy are like my other daughter and son, niece and nephew. Andy loves them, they love Andy, and we always did every family food together. Everything. Vacation, so.
Yeah, I'll go first. That way you can finish. I'm the worst storyteller, but my memories of Andy, same as everybody. The most easygoing person you will ever meet. Every time he came into the house, it was like you can have just a relaxed conversation with him. But what I remember is every either Jewish holiday, Thanksgiving, they would be there. The Raskins and my aunt and uncle would be there. And him and my Uncle David would get into constant political arguments all the time. And it would go on for 4 or 5 hours that they were there. And they were cursing, no effing way, and that's what they would do. No, they would fight all the time. I feel like if they were on the same team or not, but it was just all in good fun and love, and that's what I remember. Just like I loved having him in the house. Loved. Go, your turn.
I love talking in public, so this would be very easy. So sometimes I'm not the most social person in the world. I can, sit by myself in a room and everyone else is talking, but for some reason when Andy's around, I would always talk a lot. And I just knew that, that was because I liked talking to him. He was a really good person. And I actually really enjoyed the conversations. We've all been in a situation where we talk to someone. Maybe we don't care to have a conversation with somebody. But with him, I actually really wanted to talk and sit informative. He was smart. He was funny. And I missed that about him. And then one other story was in Mexico. How old was I? 13?
Like 6?
No,
He was young.
I was 9.
9.
You were 9.
I can't turn. He told me not to turn. I gotta look right here. So how old was I? I can't turn.
9.
About 9 or 10. And we were in Cancun, Mexico.
Yes.
Cancun, Mexico. And the way I had my boogie board. I was really excited, and I didn't really have any fear. But I had no one to go in the water with me. The waves were pretty big at the time. Maybe not that big. I was small. He wasn't. I don't know what you were doing. He wasn't coming. I'll be following my mom around. I don't know. But Andy was the only one who would go with me. And every morning I'd have my boogie board. I'd knock on his door. He'd come with me. It was probably 6 in the morning, and he would come every time. And he was that type of guy, which everyone obviously already knows. So.
Thank you. That was
Would you like to say a poem now?
I'll say my poem. Why you go last?
Right, okay, so she wrote a poem.
No, I didn't write a poem. It's from the internet.
I was going to give this big build-up and everything, how great it is.
I can't say that, but I don't know who it is. I'll say it's Debbie.
It's Andy.
I know it wasn't
She's going to read a poem. Okay.
It's called Remember Me. Don't remember me with sadness. Don't remember me with tears. Remember me with laughter. What we've shared throughout the years. Now I am contented that my life, it was worthwhile. Knowing that I passed along the way, I made somebody smile. When you are walking down the street and you've got me on your mind, I'm walking in your footsteps, only half a step behind. So please, don't be unhappy just because I'm out of sight. Remember that I'm with you each morning, noon, and night.
By Debbie Raskin.
By Debbie Raskin.
I wrote it.
That's,
They're gonna bring up who?
Erwin, Jerry, and Jay.
Erwin, Jerry, and Jay. Well, you can tell the camera who they are. Hello. Have enough to drink? Okay. Who else? One more person? Jay?
My brother, my sister-in-law, and my nephew.
Make it tighten it up. Good. Okay.
So, who wants to say something funny about, or whatever?
So, Andy, when Debbie met Andy, I was 3 years younger. So, I think Debbie got married when she was about 12. Because I just remembered the best part about it, I got to take over Debbie's room. So Debbie had a big room, and my room was like a little hen cage.
It was a closet.
A closet. And then we put my grandfather in there.
In the closet.
So Debbie moved out, and then, you know, so Debbie and Andy and I didn't have that much time together, kind of, because we were different, you know, the ages and things like that. But I don't really, it's not so much funny about Andy, but, you know, Andy was, I think what I loved about Andy, and I think I said this at the funeral, is that Andy didn't care what you had, how much money you had, or what you did. And if you were a president or a doctor or had a lot of money, Andy couldn't give a shit about that. What Andy really cared about was what everyone said. If you want to talk to Andy, and Andy liked what you were, then that's what he was about. And Andy would do things, I guess the funny part was part of Andy's mission was to make my father miserable.
That's why when they were sitting together, and he kept saying, my father kept saying to Andy, schmuck. But he had Alzheimer's, you couldn't help hacking him.
So I think the thing with Andy, what I remember one of the things about Andy was the mullet. So I don't think anybody really liked the mullet.
No.
And I don't believe Andy really liked the mullet. But Andy didn't give a shit because I think he wore the mullet so people would be like, you know, saying like, you don't look good or whatever, just to get a rise out of you.
Conversation.
Because he knew that that's not what he was about, and if you were about his mullet, then he didn't want to have anything to do with you anyway. You know. But the mullet would drive my father crazy. So I think that was a good thing, and that's why he wore the mullet for a lot of years. But the other thing about Andy is, even with some of the situations that Debbie and I went through in the last couple of years between my father and my mother, even the animosity, I wouldn't say it's animosity, but the disagreements that Andy had with my father, he would still be there. He would still drive Debbie up there. And it wasn't easy for Andy to be with my father. It wasn't easy for any of us to be with my father. But Andy did it, and not too many people would do that. And Andy would go see my mother, even when Debbie wasn't there.
On the honey to-do list.
You know. No, but it wasn't, but, I mean, that's, and I don't think Andy was going to see my mother out of an obligation.
No, he loved her.
I think he really just wanted to go and see her.
Yeah, he
So
loved her.
that's kind of what I think about Andy. I miss him.
Yeah, and I'll pick up right on that because what both of you and Andy went through for the last bunch of years was so difficult.
Right.
And, you know, Andy was such a trooper, and I just really admire his ability to be there and be sincere.
Right.
And
we had a lot of sense of humor with my
Yeah.
mother too. Like when she stayed here and she was so nuts, and he said, "I'm on the phone with the police." "Yes, please, she's right here." And she said, "No, Andy, please, I'm going to bed. I'm going to bed. Don't call the cops."
So he had, you know, a great heart and a way of.
Yeah. Jay, do you remember anything about it? No? Okay.
Well, he gave Jay some nice toys, so.
That's it? everyone here gets up and says something, and now it's your turn.
You never know.
Think
Uncle
now.
Andy was the only person I've ever met who was not trying to quit cigarettes. Which I think is everyone I've ever spoken to who smokes is always trying to quit, but Uncle Andy liked smoking a cigarette.
That's
Because he didn't really care.
That's true.
Let's go.
Okay, let's see.
Okay, so now we're gonna call up Ronnie, Sherman, Alan, and Sue. Come
You
on
gotta
up.
find me with the touch. You know, you have a lot. I have.
Okay, right here. Face the camera. Nice touch shot. Okay, good. Okay, look at the camera. Tell me who you are.
I'm Ronnie. Debbie, do you remember this? We used to go out to eat as couples. Gail, Debbie, and some other couples, Nita. And the girls would sit together and they'd always order plain salmon, a baked potato, remember this, Gail? With no butter. And the first few times I said, okay, I'll have it, it's healthy. So I'd eat it, I really didn't like it. The guys would be eating something different. So after about the fourth time going out, I said, I'm going to have what the guys have. Nice steak, mashed potatoes with the butter. And Andy came over and hugged me and he said, "You're one of the guys now." And he hugged me so tight. He was so sweet. He always did nice things and said nice things.
Sherman, you have anything?
We once went on a trip to Las Vegas.
Oh, yeah.
In what we call a church van.
Yeah.
And Andy, you know where he sat? Well, actually slept in the back seat, all in the back, all by himself for some reason or other. So then we went to, it was Death Valley.
Yes, Death Valley, right. I know the story.
Remember that?
You know this story, Eddie?
Yeah,
I don't even remember that.
So tell us.
And I had this fancy camera, and the guys, since I was taking the picture, okay, the guys were gonna moon the camera. So it was Eddie, it was Howie, it was Andy, and Joey. All mooned my camera. So after I published the picture, they all denied it was them. But it wasn't me because I took the picture.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
That's funny.
Or maybe you were doing a selfie.
No. These are the days before you could do a selfie. It was 35 millimeters. 35 millimeter.
And Susan and Alan?
Okay, well, I remember, well, the first thing was about Alan and I used to do ballroom dancing, and we were never great. But I figured we'll do something with Andy and Debbie and Candy and Mike and a few other people. And so I said, all right, how bad could this be? And we are terrible. But when we got to the dance class, it wasn't a regular ballroom dancing. You had to kind of know how to dance. And then he adds steps to the dance. So I said, oh my God, we didn't know what we were doing. So we're following them. They're hiding. And I said, well, we can't follow them because they don't, and I mean, between the two of them, they didn't know how to dance. There was nobody to follow. So I said, so we dropped out. We just said, forget it. And then I think there was a place, we had gone to a restaurant with you. Yeah, and I remember the restaurant couldn't do anything right. Everybody had a bad meal. But I think Andy was the only one that had a good meal. And he said, well, my meal is delicious. And we said, oh, and I don't think we've ever gone to that restaurant.
No. And then we yelled at him, stop lying, you know you're
I remember also, he wanted to order something in a restaurant, and Debbie said, no. People, no, you can't order that. You can't, nobody else is ordering.
Right, it's too expensive.
And she said, oh, there's Debbie again.
Right.
Always cared about everybody.
Right,
Yeah.
So, thanks.
I don't know.
Alan, don't you
Well, you know, I feel like at a little loss here because I just really met Andy a couple of years ago. You know, one of the Shiva calls.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I was on my way to Village Greens. I heard there was good food here, so I stopped there. No, but in all seriousness, I'm glad that we spoke last because I heard your future son-in-law. I think his name is Barry. He spoke, and like I feel like I got to really know Andy really well.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you know that's really nice that I heard all these great things
Yeah.
about him.
We heard about you from Eddie and I doing the job.
Right.
And all we said was ding, and then we kept coming home and telling him. But Alan knows what he's doing. He helped us.
And Debbie always wants to sit next to
me. I sat next to you for 4 summers, but hearing you complain about the computer.
And then I guess, okay, his wife came, who didn't know anything about the computer. And we kept saying,
We were greener. We were the greener.
Oh, we would dig, and not only was he digging, but the parents were waiting, Sharon, and all we did was laugh. It's good that we didn't get fired.
The woman sitting next to me left.
Okay, thank you, folks.
What?
Eddie, did I tell the story you thought I was going to tell?
What?
No, but you talk.
Did I tell the story? Come on up, Margaret. Say
Oh my God.
Jerry
Come on up, Margaret. Right here.
Everyone knows Margaret.
We've been neighbors for almost 30 years, and Andy was like my best friend, and we used to get into these amazing conversations, always about the family, always about the girls. He loved them so much. I can't even begin to tell you how he was so proud of them. He always had them high on his list. And Debbie, always. She's driving me crazy. She wants this, she wants that. Don't do any work in your house because she's gonna freak out. What are you doing? We used to laugh and carry on. But we became cat people, unfortunately, and we had kittens. And every time the kittens were born in my backyard, I go, Andy, come, we got kittens. And again, they become, and we chase the kittens around and try to find them and catch them, and you know, and try our best to take care of them. I'm sure the neighbors must have loved us terribly.
We actually brought them together, the neighbors,
Yeah,
because
and
they
then we used to
hated
bring
us,
them,
and
and we would.
No, and then Andy,
We,
what do you call
we used to
it?
try to
They
catch them and
like
bring
us,
them
and-
into the shelters and make sure they were taken care of and stuff. But I miss him. I miss him hanging out on the terrace. I miss him looking for me. He always had his eyes out. I'll just tell you the last story. My mother died very unexpected. And we had my sister lived around the corner. And
Wait a second, did your mother have a memorial yet?
And they didn't know what to do first for us. I mean, this was Christmas Eve. I'm Italian, and it was Christmas Eve. My mother died, and we're Italian, and we had this big fish dinner, and we had this whole thing going on, and I don't have a mother, and it was really bad, and so we buried my mother on the worst snowstorm. I was after Christmas. It was the worst snowstorm, and we had the whole big sanitation slow down and everything else. And my sister, we couldn't get out of the house. The snow was like up to here. And Andy came out with a shovel. And he shoveled me out. And he got me out of that house so I could go to the funeral because I was ready to walk. And he came with a shovel and he went to help me get around the corner to my sister's house to get her out of the house. And I needed someone to watch the kids, remember? We couldn't get the kids. And I said, Andy, I need your help. And he goes, what? And after shoveling, I mean, we had to get our car out. And my mother's brother was here. Oh, it was a mess. So I go, Andy, I really need you. And I need you and Deb. And he goes, I need somebody to sit with the kids. My sister was separated at the time. So Andy goes, no, I got it. What time? And I knew. So he gets up in the morning to Andy. He was like helping us shovel. We got out. We got to the church. And I go, don't worry about coming, because they wanted to come. I'm like, no, I really need you to watch the kids. I don't care about anything else. This is what you need to do for me. And so he went around the corner.
as Andy did, got his stuff, and he sat there in the den, same room, and he watched cartoons with the kids, and what are we watching now? And he just sat in the corner and he just watched them, and their father came after the funeral to I guess relieve Andy, but Andy wouldn't leave. He would not, because he wasn't a fan of John at the moment, and he would not leave until my sister came home, and then he came over and goes, I wasn't leaving it. Not leaving him with them. I go, that's their father. And he's like, I'm not leaving. You put me in charge, and I'm military, and until you relieve me from duty, I am not leaving. I'll never forget it. And I was like, oh my God, right? That was a horrible day, and like I said, he met her husband outside, and the two of them shoveled, literally carried me over the snow to get out to Vespa, where the a truck was waiting for us to take us to the funeral. It was horrible, but Andy with a shovel, he came out. And we always used to shovel, and we used to yell at him. Right. The first year he couldn't shovel, that was the best. I'll tell you now, that was my last story. So after Andy had his little episode with his heart, we told him he wasn't allowed to come out. We locked the door, we took all his shovels, and we locked the door. So who do I have? Debbie. She never holds a shovel in her life. and Debbie and Andy screaming at the door, are you crazy? And I'm like, she will do what I want her to do. We're gonna get this car out, Andy. I promise you, out of the driveway, but you're not let out. So he stood with his head out the door. And I grabbed Debbie and I said, I'm going to shovel the snow to you, and all you need to do is shovel it going over your head. And just keep going. And she did, and Andy, I never saw him laugh so hard. He was double over laughing. I go, stop laughing at her, because if you more you laugh, she laughs and we're not going to get done.
And what shoes, Debbie, what shoes did you wear in the snow?
I had Andy's boots on. She came out with Andy's boots on. I don't know what coat she had on. I had to give her gloves. But she goes, I never held a shovel before. I said, you'll learn. And then I said, lift with your knees, Deb. And she had stood out there with 2.5 hours with me. But we got that driveway clean. We got the daddy's car out. I always call it daddy's car because that's who his car is. Daddy's car out. We got it all cleaned out and everything. And then Andy came out. That's when we let Andy out of the house.
Yeah, because he was done.
He was screaming. I said, the only thing you're allowed to do is have the little brush thing, and you're allowed to go like this. And they see anything out, let's do it.
Because he was doing too much.
Yeah. And she's yelling at him, and everybody. But she shovels now. She does a lot of things. Yeah, he would be proud.
I still can't hose.
You potted the plants.
She potted plants. She used a tool. I heard you cut yourself on with a tool. Yeah. She used a tool.
She really has.
She has come a long way. Andy would have been proud.
When you're a helper,
Is that it?
That's it.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's our show. Thank you, Staten Island! Drive home safely. Any parting words that you would like to say?
Well, thank you again, everyone.
When you're home in bed at night, and it's dark and it's time
Maybe
to
I'll
sleep.
see who wrote that poem. No, like everyone said, really, the caring is so amazing. Like some people said, oh my God, you're having so many people and blah, blah, blah. And I said, the only people I'm having are the people that care about me, Andy, and everyone. And that's who's here. So thank you so much for coming.